So as I'm sure you guys know, I bought myself a 2008 fjcruiser, which in my opinion was quite the steal. So let's see how many issues I can find and fix in 2 weeks, or in this case, less than 35 minutes. Yo guys, for like 10 seconds, not even. Imagine you actually had this dilemma every morning. Should I go left or should I go right? Which one would you pick? To say that I've been busy is an understatement. We've been doing lots of repairs on the fjcruiser, so please do stay tuned, and I'm going to go over a lot of little things that you should do when buying a vehicle. I understand this for me is super simple because I do this for a living, but bear with me. You might learn a thing or two here with this episode. I am going to go ahead, turn this camera around, because I've actually written all of this down in my whiteboard because it's quite a lot. Check it out. It is a bit much, but let's try to digest this together and see if we can get through it. So everything in black here with the green is what I've done. You'll see a lot of this in this episode. And then on blue is what was done to the vehicle before I purchased it. So I'm going to go over all the work that they did and rectify whatever needs rectifying. And then on this left side, because I'm coming to you from the future, clearly was a list of the to-do. But even on these to-dos, in this episode, I've done the ones that have the plus on it. I've already addressed it in this episode. So without any further ado, let's get going with this crazy episode. Before we do go ahead and proceed with all these small repairs, as promised, I'm going to tell you guys now how much I paid for my fjcruiser. But what I want to do is, on the comment section down below, after I'm done with all the repairs, how much would you say that it is worth now? So without any further ado, I paid $13,000 even after everything was said and done. That is what I paid for my fjcruiser. What do you think? Did I pay a lot? It sure needed a lot of work, let's face it. But to be honest with you, all the ones I've looked into, all of them needed all this work, plus the frame. So thought process here was, I already got a good frame. That is roughly a $10,000 proposition if you were to replace one. So I pay another $3,000 for the rest of it. I don't think I did all that bad. But by all means, guys, do let me know what you think. Did I pay too much? Did I not pay enough? I want to hear what you guys think. Definitely want to share this one with you guys. Cabin air filter, of course, for FJ. There's the part number. But reason why I brought you guys here is because of the condition the one this car has. It's in, actually, condition doesn't even begin to describe. This is definitely a new one for me. Was ready for some homemade cabin air filter. How freaking crazy is this? Have you ever seen anything even remotely close to that? That's insane. some odd reason, you can't even really see it, but it was leaking on the bottom there in that corner. This, by the way, is actually a very typical fjcruiser thing. I've seen at least close to a dozen. They all leak in this corner. So check yours. You want to look from the inside portion of the radiator. But if you look at the bottom, you can see there was some very clear separation. Just by comparison, you see there nothing happening as far as separation. So anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and sort that out. Major thing with these radiators is make sure if you have an automatic that you're getting an automatic radiator, which will have, of course, the 2 ports for your transmission lines. You can use this also on a manual. You just have to plug these. But yeah, that's the only really thing to know here. Nothing really crazy. You have to swap these grommet pieces like I'm going to do right now. Hopefully, one-handed somehow. See if we can do this. Here. We'll do the top one first, right? And then this one always goes like so. Push it in, and they kind of hold each other into place. And also another super cool detail, you have to, of course, remove the front grille, and one of the bolts is accessible through there, as you can see it. And the other one with a very long extension is accessible through that hole that you see there on the frame, straight back. Same story on the other side, and they're very easy. Don't have to take the shroud out, just literally push it back. And even with the help of a friend, you can totally do this in your driveway, no problem. And guys, remember that hose that I was telling you about? So obviously, again, he's a guinea pig. I'll see if this is a fix that will be something that lasts, but yeah, that's exactly where the leak was occurring. And we're gonna go ahead and probably trace it all the way back, because we got this one, that one, and the rubber one up on top. So let's go ahead and swap those out. I'll go ahead and give you guys a better view of the frame and show you guys the reasons why I went for it. So a lot of people might see stuff like this. Yeah, I do have to repair that at some point as excessive corrosion, but it really isn't. At the end of the day, it's really not too bad. They usually fail around these areas, as you can see, solid, so no worries there. Biggest concern for me with this frame sits right in this corner, right there. So as you can see, it's double layered. I don't know if you guys can see that. And the exterior layer does have this small triangle shape corrosion. Before I go ahead and move any further, my most sincere apologies, guys. Got a little carried away, and of course, forgot to record some of this, but it's not too late, not too late. Oh yeah, this by the way, was caused by that manifold. Please work on your car, but wait until it cools off, or else. What are we doing here today? So we're gonna be cleaning this throttle body, and to do this properly, my personal opinion, you want to go ahead, take this guy out. As you can see, placed it already over there in the grass. You got yourself a 10 mil right there, another 10 mil right there. Listen this guy up, and then you can move the whole assembly out of your way, in which case you then remove 10 mil. You're not going to completely remove this out of the car, because you do have some hoses right there that have coolant in it. So you obviously don't want to open the coolant system, right? Because then you would have to bleed it again. But what we want to do is our very best to clean this side, and most importantly, and that's why we took it all apart, that side. Yeah, look at that. That is very dirty. I personally like at this time to also replace this gasket. For those of you that might be interested, this is the part number you're looking for. But without any further ado, let's make that look a little better. And after several minutes, I'm pretty happy with the result. I might hit the corners with a few Q-tips and a little bit of alcohol, because after all, I've been doing this with the wrong spray, but not to worry. I'll make sure to have the correct throttle body cleaner in the description down below. And also on a side note, guys, again, disregard that. This guy is actually, I grabbed the wrong one. This was from my private stash. It's too small. Of course, in the description down below, the correct gasket will be added in there. So feel free to get that one instead. But yeah, this rag, needless to say, is a few shades of black, darker, if that's even a thing. But let's carry on, and I'll meet you guys here once this looks a little different. And it should look a little something like this. I will, of course, spruce this up a little bit. And now there is a super important piece of the puzzle here that I left undone purposely. And now showing this on camera is probably going to be super difficult. But you see this little vacuum hose? I couldn't tell you how many times I found this one to be disconnected. Guys, you can feel it with your finger. It is, of course, this guy right here. So go ahead, do not forget, that's your vacuum line for your fuel pressure regulator. Always connect that guy. Now, I'm left with this daunting task, which is not daunting at all. This one came with the FJ. This one was actually donated by Bruce, my good friend from work. But to be honest with you, they're both in good shape. But now I just come to the conclusion that they're actually not the same. So this is a Tacoma cover. This is an FJ. See the difference? Well, if there's any Tacoma guys out there that need an engine cover, please reach out. It is yours. But I'm going to go ahead and install the correct one. And as always, guys, I'm here to correct any possible mistakes I might make. As you can see, this is indeed the fjcruiser cover. I know that because it had a little bit of a gouge there. That's why I was a bit convinced that, hey, maybe I can use this cover after all. Although, technically, they both have their little imperfections. But what do you know? You can actually interchange them. So Tacoma, FJ, doesn't matter. Yes, little windows there. It's all a matter of preference. I think for right now, I want to keep this vehicle as OEM as possible in certain aspects. So I'm going to go ahead and install this one. Either way, thank you, Bruce. I appreciate you. Bruce, as always, just recently gave me, see how well I can show you guys this, that lowered engine cover that you see down there. He has given me the one off of his Tacoma, which, again, stay tuned and we'll find out if it does fit an fjcruiser after all. And now to answer some questions, some of you might wonder, where are some of the benefits of keeping a clean throttle body? Well, that's very simple, guys. It is fuel economy. Because technically, what this ties in with is your idle speed. So think about it this way. If your idle speed is optimal, then so will your gas per mileage be just as optimal. That's why you want to keep it as clean as possible. Didn't show you guys a shot of power steering line job, but let's see how best I can do this. Yeah, there she is. We no longer have a leak with that guy also, and I am pretty pumped about that. Still don't understand how the last guy replaces the power steering pump, as you can see there, but completely fails to actually address what most likely took the pump out. That's if the pump was even bad. I think you guys agree with me, that pump was probably more than perfect still. But let's carry on and give this old lady her much needed attention and sorting. Gotta be honest, this is starting to drive me crazy. Who else is OCD out there like me? Things like that just drive me crazy and I want to address them. But first, I definitely want to address very small little inconvenience here on the interior. As you guys can see, we are missing the floor mats. So I went ahead and got myself this guy. So let's go ahead and correct that. So again, no brainer, guys. They're all marked. And of course, you always want to hook them in the correct locations. You don't want any floor mats sliding into your pedals now, do we? And with a little bit of magic, there you have it. I'm pretty sure these are actually not the specific ones for this vehicle, just a heads up, as this little setup does not seem to be on the floor. I'm gonna go ahead and say the set is actually for the older models, because that's also very clearly not correct, although I am gonna make do for right now. I'd much rather have floor mats than no floor mats. But let's go ahead and continue with this little sprucing up. Continuing right along, here's a small little issue that I've been dealing with that is actually pretty annoying. I don't know if you can tell from these images, but there is actually a chunk missing out of that point in case when you inspect the new part. As you can see, there is plastic missing on this one. This job is super easy. They're calling this a door check, door stopper. What do you guys call it? The reason why it's inconvenient, especially on a fjcruiser, is because you need this door to stay open so that you can open this one. So we're obviously going to correct that. Not many tools are needed, guys. Phillips head, small flathead, a trim tool, and a 10 mil, and you can get this job accomplished. You got to pop out these covers. You'll have screws hiding underneath there. Pop the door panel right out, just so you can gain access of the inside portion of this job, and that's it. Nothing all that crazy to it. There is indeed one I forgot. It's a small little trim clip that sits right there out of frame, but not to worry, I'll show you right now. Again, flathead, push the center portion in, and you can even use your trim tool to assist you on this, and yep, just like so. This little guy, don't lose it. Again, you want to set it up for reinstallation, and that is how you accomplish that. You put it in that position, because all you got to do is push it in. Let's go ahead, get this panel off. Yes, it's going to require some brute force, not to worry. And then this is very easy. White cable on top, green one on the bottom, and then all you really got to do is disconnect, you know, if you choose to do so, your driver's master switch. As you guys can see here, just by comparison, so you understand why the panel has to come off. You see the damage there, right? But the piece in question has to be fed from the inside out, and that's why the panel came off. I'm personally going to go ahead and remove this guy and work my way this way. Before I go ahead and install this piece, I want to show you guys how worn out this thing actually was. You see how I'm shaking this? So of course we're doing this one-handed. How bad was this? You see this thing? Boy, this thing was gone. This definitely will be an improvement of sorts. I don't know about you guys, but that puts an epic smile on my face. It's the small things that do. Look at that. It's staying open. But of course, there's always the smaller things that a lot of times they don't make it on camera. But as you can see here, the little feather, I believe is called, is, well, it's broken. The gasket probably has seen better days, definitely has. And, well, why not just install a new one that is properly secured? Yeah, if you don't know, these take premium. But that's that. As I'm sure you guys know, it is a very cool little quirky thing about the fjcruiser is the fact that it has 3 windshield wipers. That is obviously because of the shape of the windshield. They had to do it that way. But again, that's a 16. And then you have 2 13mm wipers. With this particular style, I have of course replaced them because the ones that the car had when I bought it was very much worn out. But let's go ahead and address the one in the rear. The rear wiper is one of those items, to my knowledge, is a dealer only, and I will show you guys in a second why. If you're looking for the part number, this is the guy. As always, it will be in the description down below. But I'm going to show you guys right here, right now, how simple it is and why these are specific to this vehicle. So it all has to do with that shape right there. There's a good function for that shape. As you'll see, it's because it's supposed to be anchored back down on that spot, and that's why they made it that way. But let's go ahead and get rid of this one. Press on the tab and push towards the spare, and then work it out. Of course, don't slam this into your paintwork. And I'm sure you guys can tell from these images that this was in terrible condition. So off with the old one, in with the new one. Again, lift it up, slide it into the hole, and wait for the click. Park it in its place. Isn't a little fun fact, as small of a wiper, for comparison, that's my hand, as this one might appear, believe it or not, in the Toyota lineup, there is a smaller one. Can you name which one that is? What car does it go to? I'll give you a clue. It goes in the rear of the car. Leave it in the comments down below. I want to see which one of you guys out there knows which wiper I'm referring to. That is pretty small. Clearly, you guys already know what these are, but yes, I do this on basically all of my cars. For once, we do have a reason for doing it. I mean, would you check out the condition of these ladders? And if there's anything constructive that I can give you guys on this one is, don't reach for that chrome, or you might end up like this as well. What do you guys think? I gotta be honest, it's no secret that I'm no fan of the chrome, but in this particular case, I think it was very much needed, as the chrome that was in there was basically flaking off. But now, let's go ahead and start cleaning these injectors, as I have no idea if any of this was ever added. So, I'm gonna go with this one this time around. What are you guys using out there? Let me know in the comments down below. I almost did forget. There is a little addition in the back here that I think is very cool and definitely worth sharing with you guys. So this cargo net actually clicks onto the side there and to the bottom ones. Super easy to install, and hey, who needs accessories spelled properly when you can have this bad boy right there? So if you want one of these, no, gotta make sure they can read it. I'll leave the link in the description down below. We went ahead, of course, and changed that oil. Every time you buy a used vehicle, you should always change the oil. As you can see, it was a little darker, but needed nonetheless. So you guys remember how I said I also had a lower engine shield from a Tacoma? Take a wild guess. Yep, bolts right up. And now we will have also an access little panel there for the drain plug. I cannot stress this one enough. Every time you take a drain plug out or a fill plug, please replace those crush washers with new ones. And please do not double gasket your oil drain plug. This was an engine catastrophe ready to happen. Really wanted to share with you guys how much I've been averaging out of a full tank. Pretty wild. I always knew fjcruisers were not that great on gas, but yeah, I want to see if we can get a better number than that, right? But one of the reasons why I brought you guys here is we are about to replace a very important component in the FJ that I believe is causing some of that poor gas mileage. So I'll meet you guys here in a second, and hopefully I can capture this on camera. What you're going to be listening for is a sound, as we do have a bad wheel bearing. So hopefully I can show you guys that on video. All right, here we go. So hopefully I can show you guys this on camera. The pitch starts at about 20 miles per hour. I'll put a marker on the camera. As I'm sure you can tell, it is pretty annoying, but let's go ahead and correct this issue. Guys, this is one of those deals that was too good not to share. I have not yet done a front wheel bearing video on 4Runner or any platform for that matter. Which, speaking of which, what you're seeing here applies for both the 4Runner and the fjcruiser. It's a complete mirror image, and even other models are very similar as well. So enjoy. Hopefully it's very straightforward and easy to comprehend. I am clearly just showing you the obvious needed steps. It's not that complicated. I personally chose to do it on a lift. I just didn't want to work on my knees, but if you feel so inclined, it is most definitely doable. Instead of some of the air tools, you can perhaps use chisels and things of that nature, punches, but it's totally doable indeed. Alright, let's go with the new one. Yes. For those that might be wondering, this shield does have a direction, and there's a little dot there that lines up perfectly with your knuckle, so there's no getting this wrong. And yes, of course, I'm going to replace this eventually. They are on order, but unfortunately for me, they did not arrive on time, as they are coming from Japan. And here's a little sneak peek. As you can see, this axle boot has seen better days, so do stay tuned. We will replace this shield at the same exact time as we do that boot kit. Oh yeah! It would have been sold out by now. Hopefully the before and after shows the difference. This is one of those deals that oftentimes gets neglected. Guys, if I can give you a piece of advice, go as fast as you can and get yourself a 3/8 hose with a 3/8 plastic straight barb fitting, as you can see me doing here in these images. And on your passenger side, after you remove that little dust shield cover, install it, reroute that drain. You can thank me later. If you care to see what I'm talking about, please check out the video that I'll leave in the description down below. I did eventually trim it a bit more, but this is basically the end result. You want to keep this water that's expelled out of this drain as far away from the frame as possible. Of course, I was no exception. If you too fixed exhaust shield rattle with an oversized washer, don't forget to smash that like button. if there's one thing I can't stand is lack of cleanliness when it comes to your vehicle. It might not be obvious from those images, but there was literally moss growing on the roof of my FJ. So I did my very best to get rid of it. We went ahead and, as you guys saw, got a little crazier with the roof, but still no success. So I'm trying a new car wash here, and I did spend some time of my own up there trying to clean it up. Let's see how this roof comes out now. Before I get crazy cleaning this, I just want to show you guys how dirty this car actually is. So this is with just a little bit of elbow grease with this guy right there. But check this out. Let me know if you see the difference. Holy Moses. That's insane. Would you believe me if I told you I just washed this car? Yep. All right, let's get this looking like it should. Yeah, I know. We will have to tackle this eventually. Luckily for me, I can always just take this piece out and send it to the body shop. But hey, little by little, right guys? Yeah, now I just gotta polish the rest of the truck, because I am pretty sure if you look closely, you'll see, there it is, more of this craziness. Oh man, I got my work cut out for me. And that is going to be all for today's episode, guys. I know some of this information was a bit rushed, but that's because I have covered it in the past. Feel free to go in the description down below of this video. I put all the links in there for you because, as I'm sure you guys know by now, fjcruisers and 4Runners are very, very similar. So therefore, it's the same exact concept. And on that bombshell, guys, it's not a bombshell, everybody knows this. If you found this information to be informative, don't forget to smash that like button. If you haven't done so, spread the word, please. We could use a lot more of these fjcruiser guys out there. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.